Okay, you wake up, you peek outside, hoping for that beautiful day. Maybe the weather app even promised it.
Yeah, you've got plans in your head, maybe. Coffee outside, a nice walk.
Exactly, but
Oh.
then, nope, it's gray, maybe drizzly, just kind of gloomy.
And instantly, right? That feeling you had, that little bit of energy.
Gone, just evaporates, replaced by this, slumped feeling. It's pretty wild how fast something totally outside of us can just hijack our whole mood.
It really is. And that whole morning weather check thing, it's such a perfect little metaphor for life, isn't it?
How so?
Well, you plan, you expect things to go a certain way, but then life happens. Those rainy days pop up unexpectedly. Setbacks, stress, just tough situations.
Yeah. And it can really feel like your happiness is just completely tied to those outside forces, like you're just waiting for the sun, literally or figuratively, to feel okay again.
You feel like you're just enduring it. Great, you think. Another one of those days, just got to get through it.
Right. But what if it wasn't just about gritting your teeth? What if there's more to it?
That's exactly what this stack of source material we've been digging into suggests. Something pretty powerful, actually.
Which is?
What if happiness isn't just this thing that happens to you, like a reward when everything's going perfectly?
Okay.
What if you yourself have a real hand in creating it? Like cultivating your own inner sunshine, no matter what the weather's doing outside.
I like that idea. Creating your own sunshine. So that's our mission for this deep dive then.
That's it. We've pulled together research and insights from psychology, health, mental well-being, all looking at practical ways to build that inner capacity. Not to pretend the rain isn't there, but to find ways to, strive anyway.
And the research really backs this up, doesn't it? It's not just wishful thinking.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, genetics play a role. Circumstances obviously play a role in our happiness levels. But the research consistently points to this significant chunk, some sources say as much as 40%, that's influenced by our intentional actions and attitudes.
40%. That's huge. That's where we have agency.
Exactly. That's the part you can work with, where you can actively make a difference in your own experience.
Okay, so where do we start? How do we unpack this?
Well, first, it helps to understand what we even mean by feeling good. The sources make this really interesting distinction between happiness and something else they often call joy.
Happiness versus joy. Okay, happiness feels pretty straightforward, usually linked to things going well, right? Like, I got the promotion, so I'm happy, or things are easy right now, I feel happy.
Precisely. Happiness, in this view, is often tied to your circumstances being pleasant or your life matching your expectations. Joy. Joy is described as something a bit deeper, maybe more mysterious.
Deeper how?
It's a feeling that can actually show up alongside difficulty, even alongside suffering. It connects you to something fundamentally good or beautiful or meaningful, kind of independent of the immediate situation.
Wow, okay, so you don't need everything to be perfect to feel joy. That's quite a shift.
It is. There's this incredibly powerful example in one of the sources. Someone describing standing with family right after a huge tragedy, just immense grief.
Yeah.
And they looked up, saw just one single bright star. And focusing on that tiny point of light, just for a moment, it brought this feeling they called transformative, quiet joy.
The grief didn't vanish, I assume.
No, not at all. But the joy was there too, alongside it. Like an illumination, they said, helping them see beyond the immediate pain for a second.
That's profound. So you can't just switch joy on like a light bulb.
Doesn't seem like it. You can't force it.
Yeah.
But the idea is you can kind of open the door for it. Create the conditions where it's more likely to visit through practices that act like gateways. Things like intentionally cultivating gratitude or nurturing hope. These can make you more receptive, more available to experience joy, even when things are tough.
Okay, so joy is possible even in the rain, but just practically speaking, how do we handle those rainy days without getting completely washed away? That seems key.
That brings us right to building what the experts call emotional resilience, your inner bounce back capacity.
Bounce back capacity, I like that. So resilience is?
It's basically your ability to recover when things get tough, when you face stress, adversity, setbacks. It's not about being untouched by difficulty.
Right.
It's about navigating it effectively, learning from it, adapting, and bouncing back, moving from just surviving towards thriving.
And what does it look like when someone's maybe low on that resilience? What are the signs the sources mention?
Well, someone struggling with resilience often gets stuck. They might find themselves ruminating a lot, replaying past regrets, or worrying constantly about what might go wrong in the future.
Okay, that mental time travel thing again.
Exactly. They might also tend to overlook the good things that are happening, have a generally pessimistic outlook, be really hard on themselves.
That self-criticism loop.
Yeah. and feeling so overwhelmed by challenges that they just kind of give up easily.
That sounds like a really draining cycle.
Sure.
So how do we break out? How do we build up that bounce back ability?
The material we looked at offers a really helpful framework. It's called the 5-factor model of resilience. Think of them like core muscles you can strengthen.
Okay, 5 factors. What are they?
At the core, there's mindfulness. And then supporting that, you have gratitude, optimism, self-compassion, and grit.
Mindfulness, gratitude, optimism, self-compassion, grit.
These 5 work together. They become particularly important when you're really up against it, facing a crisis or a big challenge.
Let's dig into those then, one by one. Starting with mindfulness. How does that build resilience?
Mindfulness is basically about training your attention to be fully here, right now, in this present moment.
It's the antidote to that worrying about the future or regretting the past.
Exactly that. It grounds you. Instead of getting swept away by anxieties about things you can't control or regrets you can't change, mindfulness helps you focus on, okay, what's actually happening now? What can I realistically do now?
And the sources had some really simple ways to practice this, right? Doesn't have to be complicated.
Not at all. Things like the 3-minute breathing space, just pausing, sitting quietly, and gently focusing your attention on the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Just for a few minutes. It anchors you.
Or even just noticing your feet on the floor.
Totally. Or doing a quick body scan, just noticing sensations without judging them. There's that classic raisin exercise too.
Ah, yes, the mindful eating.
Yeah. Taking like 5 minutes to just really experience one single raisin, looking at it, touching it, smelling it, slowly tasting it. It forces you into the present. The key skill underneath it all is just noticing your thoughts and feelings arise.
Without getting carried away by them.
Exactly. And without judging yourself for having them, just noticing. There's a worry thought. Okay, feeling a bit sad. Just observing.
Okay, presence is step 1. What about gratitude? You mentioned it as a gateway to joy, but how does it build resilience? It sounds simple, like just saying thank you.
It's definitely more than just politeness, though that's good too. As a resilience factor, gratitude is an active practice of noticing the good.
Actively looking for it.
Yes. Noticing the good stuff around you. Not just the huge wins, but the small kindnesses, simple pleasures, opportunities you might take for granted. And then really taking it in, savoring it.
Why does that help with bouncing back?
Because it consciously shifts your focus.
Huh.
Instead of dwelling on what's wrong or missing, you're training your brain to see what's present and positive. That naturally builds hope, and it also fosters connection when you recognize the good others bring into your life.
So how do you build that muscle? Just telling yourself to be grateful seems like it might not stick.
Right. Practice helps. Keeping a gratitude journal is a big one. The sources often suggest listing, say, 3 good things each week.
Just listing them.
And maybe reflecting a little, like,
Yeah.
What was my role in this good thing happening? What does this good thing mean to me? Another really powerful one is writing a gratitude letter.
To someone specific.
Yeah, someone who's made a positive difference in your life. You write down what they did, how it impacted you, and then, if possible, actually share it with them, read it aloud, or send it. That's incredibly powerful for both people.
I can see how that would build connection, definitely. Okay, next factor. Optimism. This one can feel tricky. It's not about pretending bad things aren't bad, is it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's not about wearing rose-tinted glasses. In this context, optimism is really about your explanatory style. It's how you make sense of why things happen, both good and bad. And the cool thing is, it's seen as a flexible mindset you can actually learn.
So you can learn to explain things differently to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Optimists tend to explain good events in ways that are personal, I contributed to this, permanent, this positive quality will last, and pervasive, this success will help in other areas.
Okay.
And when bad things happen, they tend to see them as more temporary. This is tough right now, but it won't last forever. Specific, this is about this situation, not my whole life. And less personal, maybe due to external factors. Other things contributed to this setback.
And that difference in explanation, it actually changes how you feel and act.
Big time. It gives you energy. Instead of feeling helpless, like everything bad always happens to me and is permanent, you feel more like, okay, this is a specific temporary challenge. What can I do about it? It fuels action.
So how do you practice that? How do you challenge those default pessimistic thoughts?
You can consciously question them. When something good happens, ask yourself, okay, what was my role here? How can I make this feeling or success last? How does it spill over positively?
And for bad things?
Ask, what were the external factors? Who else played a part? How can I see this as temporary? How do I keep this contained to just this area, not let it poison everything? Another technique mentioned is visualizing your best possible self in the future helps build that positive expectancy.
Shifting from feeling like a victim to feeling like you have some control. Okay, next up, self-compassion. Oh boy. This feels like a big one for a lot of people. Being kind to yourself when you mess up.
It really is tough for many of us, but it's so critical for resilience. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and support you'd offer a good friend who is struggling.
Instead of that harsh inner critic that usually jumps in.
Exactly. That default mode is often intense self-blame, harsh judgment. Self-compassion is the antidote. It's pausing when things go wrong and asking, okay, if my friend were going through this, what would I say? How would I treat them?
And then trying to offer that same gentle voice to yourself.
Yes. It involves recognizing that making mistakes and suffering is just part of being human. Everyone goes through it.
Yeah.
And responding to your own pain or flaws with warmth, not judgment. It's vital because it stops that downward spiral of self-criticism, which just drains your energy for actually dealing with the problem.
Allows you to actually move forward. Makes sense. Okay, the last of the 5. Grit.
Grit? This is about perseverance, but also passion, directed towards long-term goals. It's that sticking power, especially when you hit obstacles or setbacks related to those goals.
Sticking with things even when they're hard.
Right. And what's really interesting here is that the sources suggest we already have grit in certain areas of our lives, areas where we feel competent or have seen success.
Oh, that's a useful way to think about it. So you don't have to invent grit from scratch.
Exactly. The practical idea is find an area where you do show persistence. Maybe it's a hobby you love, mastering a skill at work, maybe even sticking to a fitness routine in the past.
Okay.
Then analyze how you do it there. What's your mindset? What do you tell yourself when it gets tough? How do you handle mistakes in that area?
And then apply those same strategies to the area where you're struggling now.
That's the core idea. They call it building your personal model of resilience. If you were really persistent learning, say, an instrument, how did you approach wrong notes? How did you keep practicing? You break it down, you accept imperfections, you focus on small improvements. You can consciously try to bring that same approach to, say, tackling a difficult project at work or starting a new healthy habit.
I know how to stick with things. I did it with X. I can figure out how to apply that mindset here too. That's really empowering.
It really is.
So those 5 factors, mindfulness, gratitude, optimism, self-compassion, grit, they form the bedrock of resilience. But the sources also talked about other essential habits, right? Things that support this foundation.
Absolutely crucial ones, like consistent self-care. This isn't just bubble baths, though those can be nice. It's about the fundamental routines that nourish you physically and mentally.
Why is that so vital for resilience?
Because you need energy reserves to handle challenges. If you're constantly running on empty, you have no buffer. So this means the basics done consistently.
Like
Regular physical activity, even moderate stuff, makes a difference. Eating foods that fuel you well, getting enough sleep that's huge, setting healthy boundaries with your time and energy, saying no sometimes.
and making time for things you actually enjoy.
Yes. Actively scheduling leisure activities that genuinely replenish you. Reading, hobbies, nature time, connecting with friends, maybe just savoring a quiet moment. One exercise suggested is listing activities that nourish you versus those that drain you, and then consciously trying to increase the nourishing ones.
Filling your own tank so you can handle the bumps. Makes sense. What about actively shaping your thinking patterns?
That falls under cultivating a positive mindset. It's about doing deliberate work to shift away from habitual negative thinking.
How do you do that?
Things like cognitive restructuring, learning to identify, challenge, and reframe those unhelpful automatic negative thoughts. Using affirmations can help some people. And consciously choosing to surround yourself with positive influences, people, media, environments that uplift you rather than drag you down.
And when you're actually in a stressful moment, what helps then?
Having effective coping strategies in your toolkit, different ways to handle the pressure right then and there.
Like what kind of strategies?
Problem-solving approaches can help reduce anxiety. For example, clearly writing down the worst-case scenario, the best case, and the most likely outcome for a stressful situation. It makes it feel less overwhelming.
Takes it out of your head and onto paper.
Exactly. Journaling is another powerful one. Just getting thoughts and feelings out, maybe stream of consciousness style, helps process them. And of course, simple stress relief techniques like deep breathing exercises or even just some mindful movement or stretching.
We mentioned connection earlier with gratitude, but it seems like relationships are a major theme here too.
Foundational. Absolutely foundational for resilience and overall happiness. Strong, supportive relationships act as a huge buffer against stress. That sense of belonging is critical.
How many connections do we need?
Some research cited suggests even having just 3 close, reliable friends can make a significant difference to your sense of support. And it's not just about getting support.
It's about giving it too.
Yes. Actively practicing kindness and generosity towards others has been shown time and again to boost your own mood and well-being. It creates a positive upward spiral.
That ties into purpose too, maybe. Doing good for others.
It can, absolutely. And pursuing meaningful goals more broadly is another key element. Having goals that align with your core values gives you a sense of direction and purpose, which fuels long-term well-being.
So it's not just about chasing fleeting pleasures.
Right. It's about identifying what truly matters to you, your values, and setting goals that reflect those, breaking them down into steps. And importantly, framing them positively.
What do you mean framing them positive?
Focusing on moving towards something you desire. I want to build stronger connections. Rather than just avoiding something I don't want to be lonely. Approach goals feel more motivating than avoidance goals. Imagining your future legacy can also help clarify what's deeply meaningful.
That really puts daily struggles into perspective. One last strategy that sounds related to mindfulness. Turning towards difficulties. That sounds hard.
It is hard, but it's powerful. It's about developing the willingness, the courage even, to face uncomfortable feelings or situations directly with non-judgmental awareness.
Instead of the instinct to push them away or ignore them.
Exactly. Instead of fighting reality, you practice acknowledging it. Okay, this feels really unpleasant right now, or this situation is difficult. It's about learning to, in a sense, relax into the what is, even if it's uncomfortable, rather than constantly struggling against it.
What does that achieve?
It stops you getting stuck, fighting battles you can't win in that moment. It reduces the extra suffering we create through resistance. And often, paradoxically, accepting the difficulty is the first step towards figuring out how to navigate it wisely.
Wow. Okay. That is quite a toolkit. Mindfulness, gratitude, optimism, self-compassion, grit, plus self-care, positive mindset, coping skills, connection, purpose, acceptance. It doesn't sound like a magic bullet, though.
Definitely not. And the sources are really clear about this. Building these skills, integrating these habits, it takes time. It takes conscious effort, energy. It's a practice.
A journey, not a destination you just arrive at.
Exactly. You're still going to have rainy days. Setbacks will still happen. That's just life. But these tools give you like an internal compass, a stronger boat maybe, to navigate those storms.
So you can weather them with more resilience and maybe even find moments of light or joy, even when it's tough.
That's the goal. To build the capacity to find or create your own positive perspective, your own sunshine, regardless of the external conditions.
And the most hopeful part is that feeling that even if the stuff doesn't come naturally to you right now, you actually can learn it. You can shift your thinking, build that inner strength piece by piece.
That's the core message of agency we found across the research. We can't always control what happens to us, our circumstances, or even our initial reactions sometimes. But we have this significant research-backed ability to influence our internal experience through these kinds of intentional habits and mindsets.
We really can learn to create our own sunshine.
We can. So we've covered quite a bit today. That difference between happiness and joy. The 5 core factors of resilience: mindfulness, gratitude, optimism, self-compassion, grit.
And all those supporting habits, self-care, positive thinking, coping strategies, connection, purpose, acceptance.
Yeah, and remembering these aren't just nice ideas. They're actionable strategies, tools you can actually start using, backed by solid research.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As you go through the rest of your day, whether the sun is shining outside or not, whether you're facing a challenge or just the usual stuff.
What's one small thing, one tiny habit, one perspective shift from our deep dive today? What's one thing you could choose to practice, maybe just for a minute or two, to start cultivating a little bit more of that inner light for yourself?
Something to think about. Until next time.